Hello, this is Alex Shaw, Excel Effects, and I would like to show you something I came across a week or so ago. It's a combo box that contains the list of quarters, and when you select a quarter, it automatically populates a list box. I would like to create this without using any Visual Basic or programming features. So that's what I would like to show you how to do today, if it's possible. So this will be an interesting lesson, and keep in mind this is an advanced topic, but you can follow along and get the gist of what's going on, and hopefully you'll find it very interesting. So let's go ahead and give this a shot and start a new document. And what we need to do, we need to display the developer ribbon up here, which is going to be used to actually insert the objects into our sheet. So you can right click on one of the options up here, one of the menu options, and choose customize ribbon, or you can right click somewhere in a blank area on the ribbon and choose customize the ribbon. And then on the right side of the dialog box Excel options, you make sure you select the developer option from the main tabs list and click OK. And now you have developer ribbon shown at the top of the menu. You can also go to File, Options, and choose Customize Ribbon from there. And then you can check Developer from there and just click OK. So with that said, let's go ahead and give this a shot. The first thing we need to do is insert all the quarters in the list in Excel. So we do first quarter, second quarter, oh, I apologize if you hear all the typing of my keyboard. I'm not really a video expert. I'm more of an Excel expert, graphics artist or whatever, but I'm not really a video expert yet. So please bear with me. So right below that, you want to input your mouse. And basically all you have to do is input January, the first month, and you could just click on the corner here and just drag down. It should give you the option of just populating the rest of the months with the fill down feature. And then you want to double click on here to actually maximize the column to the widest input. So now we have the two lists here. We have the quarter list and the months list. The next thing we need to do is actually we want to insert the combo box and create a list of options for the quarters. So we go into the developer tab and choose insert from up here and choose combo box. When you click in the sheet, it gives you just a box with an arrow, down arrow. So you want to resize that to a size you feel suitable for for your list. And for our list, this might be a little too big, but that's okay. This is just for our experiment. Later on we can actually fine tune it. And so we need to actually put the list inside this combo box. So right click on the combo box, choose format control, and from the format control you want to change the input range. You want to select just the quarters. Click out of that somewhere in an empty cell. You notice you don't see anything yet, but when you click on the down arrow, you have the quarters available for you, and you can just select any quarter you need. So now we have basically, I guess, the easy part done. So now we need to do is actually have a way where when the user selects a quarter, it displays the index position, or the index number, which is actually the position within the list. So right click on the combo box, choose format control, and where it says cell link, you want to provide an area where it displays the index number of the item you selected. So in our case, we're going to use M4. Click on M4 and it should show us, let's see, it should show us 2, the number 2. So there you have it, 2. If we select fourth quarter, it should show us 4. So right next to it, since we don't just want to use the number, we want to actually show what the item is. So we need to use the index function to actually display the value of the index number. So hopefully that made sense. So if it doesn't, just follow along with this index function here, which should show, once we're finished with it, it should show us the word, the phrase fourth quarter. So type in the index command. And here we're going to use the reference, the quart of these 4 cells here, B4 to B7. And the row number is just the index number, which we could click here. And we close that function and press enter. We have fourth quarter. So let's go over that again. To start the function, we're going to press enter. We're going to press equal sign. We're going to type equal sign, and then we're going to type the word index. And then we're going to do open parentheses, and then we're going to give it a reference. Then we're going to put the index number in there. Press enter. So now you have fourth quarter. So now we have all we need for the combo box. We have the index number and we have the actual value of the index number. So the next thing we need to do is create the list box. And the list box, we do the same thing as the combo box in terms of inserting it. So in order to do that, click insert from the developer ribbon and look for the list box control. Should be under form controls. Click on that and click somewhere in your sheet, preferably right under the quarter list, and resize it as you feel needed. Again, I'm oversizing this, which is okay. Actually, let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. Alright. So now what we need to do, we need to actually populate the months based on whatever they select in the combo box. But before we do that, we should put in the quarters right next to the months. So in order to do that, we just copy the first quarter, select these 3, copy and paste. That's all we're doing right now. Copy that, select, paste, copy, select, paste, copy, select, paste. Alright, so now we have the corresponding quarter next to each month. So the next thing we need to do is find out what position each quarter starts on, which within this list here. So in order to do that, we use something called the match command. This is another advanced lookup reference command. So in order to start that, you type in the equal sign, then you type in the word match, and the lookup value in this case will be fourth quarter. So you want to click in well, in this case N4, and the lookup array will be this list here, the list of quarters here. And the match type we're looking for, since this is basically text, we want to actually do an exact match. We don't want any kind of guessing, greater than, less than, none of that stuff. It's not a number, it's a text. So we're going to put 0 for exact match, and it should give us the position of fourth quarter within the list that we provided. So that should be 10. Since October is the 10th month, it should show us 10. So that's the first position of when fourth quarter starts. So basically, this is actually our starting position that we need, and then we want to use as a starting position, and then we want to tack on 3 more rows to actually get the fourth quarter as a dynamic reference. And this will be the same as the third, second, and fourth. The third, second, and first. So if we select the first quarter, it should just give us 1. The second should give us 4. The third should give us 7. So these are the positions in the list for the word for the quarter. Alright, so now we want to actually use something called the offset command. In a reference, we want to create a reference using the offset command to actually create a dynamic list. This is a little bit tricky, so before I use the reference, I'm going to do it in a sheet first. So I'll do the offset command down here, and it'll be the same thing, equal sign and offset. type in the word offset. So the reference would be, you can actually do the reference as a whole range, or you can just start off at the top January. In this case, I'm just going to start off as the first month and see if this works. And then you want to do comma. And the rows, the rows are the number of rows you want to go down. Remember, it's an offset. You're going up and down or left and right. So the rows are the number of rows you want to go down. And in this case, you want to go down 7 rows minus 1. So you want to go down from here 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, you actually want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you want to go to the third quarter, which starts with July. So you want to click on N7, which is the first position of the first occurrence of the third quarter. That would be N7. So you click on the comma, and then it asks you for the columns you want to offset, which means how many columns you want to go across, or how many columns you want to go left or right. In this case, we don't want to go, we just want 1 column, so we could skip that option. And the height, since there are 3 months per quarter, you want to type in the word, you want to type in the number 3. And basically, that's all we need to do. But most likely, when we enter this command, it's going to give us an error, because the offset command is basically a lookup reference command. It's more of a reference range command, so it's not going to give us any kind of results. It'll probably give us an error message. So let's give it a shot. So we need to close that. Oh, it actually gives us September. It gives us the last month in that range. It gives us the last month in the quarter. You see, September, which is okay, because we said we want to go. We're starting off with January. We're going down 7 spots. Wait, we need to go down 7 spots minus 1, I think. I don't know. What if we do minus 1? Oh, see, it still gives us September. So I think this might work. So we want to go down 7 spots minus 1. So we want to move down 6 spots. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, that's right. So we want to start off with July. And to see if this actually works, what we're going to do, in order to get inside this cell again and display the formula, you just click in the cell and press F2. That's a shortcut key for edit mode. So you just click F2. You can actually go up here and click inside the formula toolbar too. But in this case, what we're going to do, we're going to select the offset command, press Control C, and create a reference based on this function here. Alright, so let's cancel that. So we made a copy, we copied that formula. So now what we need to do is make a reference. In order to make a reference, go to the formulas ribbon, the top, click on formulas, and define a name. Click on define name, and give it a name. You want to name it reference months. Alright, so right below that, it says refers to. It's a box here that says refers to. You want to paste in whatever you just copied, the offset function right there in the refers to box. So now we have a reference called months. So now if we actually do equal, if we actually create a function just off of that reference we created and type in ref underscore months and hit enter, it should give us September also. Oh, it gives us an error. Now that's interesting. That's okay though. Oh, I see why, because we need to make absolute references in that particular reference. So let's go back and go into the name manager this time, and where you have ref months, you want to go down here and change. You want to go back and paste that back in, whatever you just copy, paste that back in, and change these to dynamic references. So I select just this area here and I press F4, which makes these absolute references. You want to make these absolute references. So basically wherever you type in this reference, all the ranges or all the references remain the same. Wherever you type in this name, all the references remains in the same location. So that should work correctly now. Close that. So click yes. So again, if you want to actually change the reference that you created, go up here, go into the name manager, select the reference you want to change, and go down here and actually change wherever you need to change. So now if we type in reference or ref underscore months, it should give us September. Boom, there you go. Alright, so now what we want to do, we want to use that named reference in the list box. Right click on the list box, choose format control, and where it says input range, you want to do the same thing you did for the cell at the bottom. You want it =, ref underscore months. And that's all you need to do for now. You don't need to touch anything else in here. Later on we'll provide the cell link. So click OK, and there you have it. You have the months already inserted in the list box, and if you choose first quarter, January, February, March, second, April, June, third, July, September, fourth is October, December. So now we don't really need these two cells here. We could delete that, and that's base. So what we need to do now, we actually need to we need to actually give this a cell reference. The same thing we did for the combo box. We need to actually know which index number this is so we could display the month that the person selects. So right click on the list box, choose format control, and where it says cell link, you want to provide the location that you want to use for the cell link. In this case, we want to move it down a little bit away from this other stuff here, and you click somewhere here, in our case M11, and click OK. It doesn't have anything in M11 yet. That's because we didn't select anything over here yet. So if you select November, it gives us 2. So the tricky part here is just going to actually give us 1, 2, and 3. Even though we have 12 months, for each quarter, the maximum is going to be 3 and the minimum is going to be 1. So for example, if you go to second quarter and choose May, 2, and June. So in order to get around that, all you need to do, that same reference we created, we could easily use that reference to match up the particular month in that quarter. So we have June selected. So to display the value of 3 within the second quarter, we just do =, and we're going to use the index. We're going to use the index function again, which is going to give us the position, the value based on the position of a number. So the reference this time is going to be ref underscore months. And now you want to use a comma, and you want to choose this number here as the row number, which should give us June. And there you have it. And it should be the same thing, April, May. And if you go to the third quarter, August, September, it's the same thing for every and from there you could use, again, I will have these items in a separate tab, organized properly, or organized in a way where it'll be clearly understood by the administrator, so which would be you, the developer. But for the purpose of this instruction, we have everything in one sheet. But the final step here is you really don't need all this stuff. You could put all this stuff inside the reference. So let's see if we can do that. But basically we have everything we need so far. So the shortcut to get back to the name manager will be Control F3 in Windows. So press Control F3 and that brings up the name manager. So right there, right at the bottom here, we don't need to change the starting point. Remember, this is just the reference here, but this part right here where it says N7, let's close out of this. N7 is here, so we could use this function. We could copy this function just as is, but before we copy this, actually press F4, select everything here, and press F4. If you're using Windows, press F4. I don't know the corresponding commands to Apple or Mac PCs, but in this case I'm using Windows PC, so press F4 to change the references to absolute references. Copy that function, escape out of that, bring up the name manager again, Control F3, and where it says sheet N7, you want to paste whatever you just copied, but you want to keep the -1 there and click close, and then it'll ask you if you want to save changes. Click yes, and it should still function properly. So let's go back to the name references, and you notice that we have N4 here, and we want to find out where N4 is. N4 is up here. So whatever we have here, we want to do the same thing. We'll copy this, hit F4 to make all of these absolute references. Copy that function, escape out of it. Control F3, bring up the name manager, and where it says N4 here, just select this piece here and paste. Control V, paste that in there. So now you cut down, you're going to be able to delete these cells once you finish and once you're comfortable with what you just did. So click close, and again save it, yes. So now let's test it out again. Yeah, everything works. Basically we're looking over here. We're looking at N11 to make sure whatever we select works. So let's go back to, now if I delete N7, it should still work. September, see? So this way you don't have to display all your goods to the user. And what if I delete N4? If I delete that, it still works. Now let's go back to basically that's all I think we need to do for now. In a later video I'll discuss how we can actually make this more dynamic, but for now this is actually working pretty good based on the quarter you select. And after you do something like this, you can actually use whatever you select to make other objects in your sheet dynamic. But basically this is it. You have your combo box now and your list box working dynamically. Thank you very much. This is Alex Shaw, Excel Effects. Bye.